Hi guys, and welcome to our midweek collective reading. And let's dive straight into the cards because I feel like this is going to be a long one. Our first card here is of loyalty, and it falls under Archangel Hanael. Now, Hanael is the sacred warrior, and he comes through with the ruby ray, the ruby red ray. And we have Gandhi and Martin Luther King here, both being very recognizable people in history, right? For their fight towards equality and freedom. And in that same vein, this is the quality or energy that you can tap into to rise that strength up into yourself. Because remaining loyal to yourself, to your own virtues, it requires the ability to renew your faith, right? And faith came up in our collective reading just this past Sunday, right? It requires this ability to renew your faith time and time again. And it's interesting because this sigil here, so this deck is called Angel Heart Sigils. So every card comes with a sigil. And this sigil is meant to be one that you can work with, that you can gaze upon. You can gaze upon this and meditate on it to help rise this energy of loyalty within you, right? And it's really funny because this sigil can be lifted out of the expanded Sri Yantra that's pictured right here on our next card. Really wild. So if you look at this, it's all made up of triangles, right? And this is the triangle. So if you look, there's dots on this triangle. And if you look here, there's dots, right? So if you take these two bottom dots and you follow that triangle around, you'll see that that triangle has 3 bars going across, which form the inverted triangles, right? But if you just focus on that, you've got the same patterning that you've got here. The only difference is these are straight lines because they're part of the triangle. And here, you're getting that same shape, but with this energy that's a bit more flowing, cutting through it. So you can kind of imagine it, a very similar energy, and these are all incredibly linked. Like I said, really wild, but just think of it as a little bit less structured and more flowing, which will make sense when we get to speaking about that card. So I do want to talk about the strength card quickly, but it's also so obviously linked to the loyalty card that we don't need to stay here too long. So this is giving really good direction that we do have the strength at this time to stay loyal to ourselves. Understand that you have the strength right now. So if there's something going on in your life where you're starting to question your choices, are they right? Or should you just give in? No. Clear message. Stay strong. And loyalty, it isn't by any means always easy, but staying true to your own convictions and your own virtues is necessary to live at peace with yourself. Right, so the expanded Sri Yantra. So I'm going to grab the book to show you the regular Sri Yantra first, right here. And this is number 11 in this book, which is interesting because the strength card here is also number 11, followed by number 12, because the expanded Sri Yantra comes next as number 12, right? So we've got the same 11 to 12 follow on here, and this links into this. We'll get there, right? Let's talk about the Sri Yantra first, though, because you're going to need to understand a little bit about this to move into the expanded Sri Yantra. So in the book, it explains the Sri Yantra, and it says it comes from the Hindu tantric tradition, and it's used as a powerful symbol for meditation. And we've got this surrounding square here with 4 doors, and this represents the boundaries within which our consciousness resides. And these boundaries serve as a safe space to find your inner peace in meditation, right? So linking this back to the Strength card, right? Which in some tarot decks, if you're familiar with tarot, you might be confused, because I realize in some of the most popular decks like Rider-Waite, Strength is card number 8. But in Marseille decks or more traditional decks, it's always card number 11. And obviously this deck is following that system. So that's just to get the 11 part clear. This is number 11. So drawing on this, the boundaries we are creating with our strength, right? In staying true to our virtues and being loyal to ourselves. This is what creates your safe space, right? It's creating a safe space for you to reside, because when you don't create these boundaries, it becomes hard to live in your own head, right? Anxieties and negative self-beliefs will start to creep in. So now your consciousness does not have a safe place to reside. And this is how important it is to be loyal to yourself, right? And to draw upon your strength to create these boundaries around what's important to you, right? We can't be here to please everyone else. We have to be able to live with ourselves, right? And being able to have a safe space, creating a safe physical container, right? I'm talking about our bodies here, for our consciousness to reside in is so important. So now we can finally move into this card, right? And this is the expanded Sri Yantra. So now the triangles that make up the Sri Yantra are put into motion, and they're stretching out, right, from the squared shape, and the boundaries are removed. And this represents freedom and liberation, and that comes from the book. Those words are in the book, which is exactly, let's say by no coincidence, right, what Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King were fighting for, right? Like, these are also perfectly linked. And in this reading, right, this is from your own mind. Freedom and liberation from your own mind. Because ironically, by holding strong boundaries for what feels right to you, by not giving in and doing things that you don't really feel comfortable with anyway, when you can honor yourself and hold those boundaries, you'll actually be liberated and start to feel free, right? Because your mind becomes a more comfortable place to sit with, right? When you make choices you feel good about, your mind is able to become quiet, happy even, right? So the expanded Sri Yantra in this book is the card of freedom. I'm not making this up. This is, look, literally card number 12, expanded Sri Yantra, freedom, right? This is the freedom you feel when you start to become just yourself, right? Who you are meant to be, not who you feel others want you to be. So this is the irony of creating strong boundaries. Those boundaries are actually what protects you and gives you liberation, right? Because when you're true to yourself, you can be free to be yourself. There is nothing more freeing than that, right? And the Chariot card, this really sums up the entire reading perfectly. So the Chariot card, right? It's a card of motion, exactly like the expanded Sri Yantra is bringing motion into the one that's in boundaries. And this card highlights the struggle between thoughts and desires, right? It literally represents a time where we need to maintain self-control through mental discipline, right? The Strength card here. That's what this is representing, right? There's a link. And the sevens, this is card number 7. The sevens in tarot are all about not giving up. So anytime you get a 7 in tarot, whether it's, this is the major arcana, but if it's coming up in any of the suits, there's a message behind it. Don't give up. So exactly like when I was talking about the Strength card and saying that this isn't the time to give in, to stay strong, we're getting pretty clear guidance here right now that there is something going on in your life that maybe hasn't felt like an easy choice to make. So maybe you've started to doubt yourself, right? And the guidance here is saying, do not doubt yourself and give in. Stay strong and stay the path. Just keep checking in with yourself. Is this something that you feel good about? If you feel uncertain at any time, check in and ask yourself, right? Is this because of how you feel, right? Or is it a projection of how others are making you feel? I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but make sure you're not having second thoughts, right? Just to make someone else happy. Stay true to yourself, right? Because your mind has to reside in your body. That's not going to change in this life. But other people you want to please, they may come and go, right? The ones who matter will stay. But in the meantime, take care of yourself first. And that is our guidance for this midweek reading, right? I hope this gives clarity and reassurance, right? Because right now the energy is very uncertain at this time, right? I'm wishing you all the best for the remainder of the week, and I will be back for our weekly collective reading, which gets posted to my YouTube on Sundays. So I'm going to say bye, guys, and thank you.